All right. Welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. We are back on site after the weather incident last week. We did get rained out, so we did go to live stream only. Since we are on site, we do have a live audience here with us in Jenny Jump State Park in Hope, New Jersey. But we also, since we live stream, have our audience online. And I want to thank all of you for coming and watching us, or whether you are online or here. Well, I see a couple people still moving in to see our presentation. We'll go over a couple things. We are a nonprofit, and our goal is to get all this information, educational information, out to you guys. If you want to hit that like and subscribe on YouTube if you're on there, check out our website, uacnj.org. You have all of that information about our club and our member clubs on there. You can also check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We also have a Discord channel right now. So if you have any questions or whatnot, you can always reach us there, as well as on our Facebook. So about tonight, for those of you who are here, if you do need the restroom, we have the porta potty to my right, your left. Off to our left in each of those buildings is an observatory that actually houses its telescope. If the weather was more cooperative, we would, of course, have at least a couple of those open for you guys and viewing through the scopes, whether projected onto a screen through a camera attached to the eyepiece, or whether you would actually now be able to view through the eyepiece. In addition, we also have a small museum area and gift shop off to the door to my left, and I will be in there after the presentation if you guys want to check that out. So tonight's talk, while we're on the topic of everyone here, when you go to leave, please use your headlights. We do not like getting run over in the dark, and I'm sure everyone else can agree with me that it hurts. Would not suggest. That being said, even though we're using our headlights, if we are using a flashlight or whatnot, we are keeping that pointed down towards the ground, because if we can avoid getting blinded, we'd also enjoy that. So tonight's talk is Astronomy for Beginners with Ken Taylor. Ken Taylor has nearly a decade of experience as an amateur astronomer and astrophotographer. His astronomy photographs have been featured in each of our UACNJ calendars. He's a member of Northwest Jersey Amateur Astronomers in Blairstown and enjoys having fun while entertaining all who want to know a little more about astronomy. If you have found yourself looking up at the sky at night, you could be a budding astronomer. Astronomy for Beginners will give you a brief glimpse of some of the things you may need to start your astronomy journey. And with that, here's Ken.
Nobody's. Whoa. That's loud enough, guys. Don't go any louder. The poor people over here just almost fell off the damn bench. Oh, my God. So, let's start this way. Where are you from? Florida. Wow. I will say that's the furthest part of the United States that we've had visitors from. Did you just come in? Oh, very good. Where are you from? Oxford. Cape May. There we go. Hello? There we go. Keeps on fading in and out, or me. But either way, we have people from South Jersey, obviously. What troop are you? From Wayne, New Jersey, Boy Scouts here. We enjoy having you guys here. Number two, thank you for listening to me. Maybe you'll get up and walk away later. Who knows? But either way, astronomy for beginners. One, two, one, two, one, two. I get loud, I get soft, whatever. If I hurt your ears, but either way, astronomy for beginners. As mentioned, I have about 15 years of experience with astronomy totally. It's just a hobby for me. Also, if you happen to ask a question at the end of the program, please be aware, if I can hear you, you got to speak loud. My interpreter over here will help me out a little bit. This is Kim. And Kim's a focal point of our entire presentation here. She's a lot better looking than me. Also, if you happen to ask a question, as I mentioned to several people in the audience already, if you sense any hesitation on my part, I'll be honest with you. If I give you an answer, it's a 50-50 shot I'm lying to you. I ain't that smart. No, I'm willing to admit it. Oh, good. That don't work. No, that doesn't work. Oh, crap. Is that on here? Oh, my God. Okay, welcome to us. Again, be aware, obviously, a lot of you had registered and so on and so forth. Due to COVID, we are limited to how many people we can have on site. Just for your information, pre-COVID, 2019, we had over 2,735 people visit us on our Saturdays only. Not all together. You know, on a good night, we'd have 120 to 150 people here. A few reminders again, as already mentioned, masks are optional. There's nobody here with masks on. I can skip that one. Please follow the direction of our volunteers. But you don't want anybody to get hurt on site. And don't forget to look up. Everybody look up. Yep, that's what we're going to see. Yep. Sorry. We have no control over the weather. Go ahead, next one. Obviously, astronomy for beginners is our talk. Next. If you haven't done it, I have. As a young boy, I was always intrigued about the sky, the night sky. I never, ever really got into it, of course, until later in life. You hear me breathing? Wow. A few questions you might have or might have asked yourself is, what is out there? What are, with the pictures that you see on TV and in the magazines, are they fake? Like you, I had to see it to believe it. My first telescope, I had a friend of mine who knew a lot more about. That's really terrible, isn't it? One, two, no problem? Okay. I set up my telescope. He came over. He says, let's see if we can do it. He pointed it at Saturn. I bought my telescope. We'll get into that a little bit later in my program, but I bought my first telescope on Craigslist. It paid, as far as I was concerned, for the cost of my telescope to see Saturn. Boom. By my own eye. Always when you're looking up, you all need to have an open mind. There's a lot of stuff to look at, stuff that we look at in the sky. If you don't already know it, light speed, so on and so forth. I should get my surprise. But either way, hey, Matt. Nope, he ain't here. Matt, you here? Can I get my bottle of water in the back and the apparatus in it? It's in the observatory. Sorry, people online. I apologize. As you as well know, astronomers do it in the dark. Just like our friend here. Next. You might be interested in looking at the sun. Astronomy is done during the day. The sun, it's there. There's a lot of stuff to see at the sun. Guys, never, ever look at through a telescope or with a pair of binoculars, even your naked eye, directly at the sun. It will hurt your eye. In a telescope, if you were to look at through it, you'd be blind in that one eye for the rest of your life in less than a half a second. You might be interested in the planets and what they might look at. look like? Anywhere here, kiddo. Thank you. Let's do the next. Since we're talking about the planets, Earth going around the sun one time, how long does it take? Okay, for the ones that don't know, 365 days. How long does it take? Pick a planet. Pick a planet. Real loud. Again, I wear hearing aids. How many? 12 years. I'm not going to cheat.
Yes, I cheated and put that up early.
He's right. Everybody, your name? Zachary. Everybody give a hand to Zachary to knowing that.
Your mouse disappeared.
That's because it's up. I didn't put that up.
I did.
You did. That's terrible. It takes 248 years for Pluto to go around the sun one time. The guys that are a little bit younger might not realize this. Pluto was discovered in the 1930s before it even made it 20% around an orbit. It was declassified as not being a planet. Sorry, some of the older people here, myself included, Pluto's a planet. It's never not going to be a planet. And you agree? You agree? Okay, good. Next. All right, so let's start talking about the planets. Mercury. I'm out of the way of the camera so the camera can see this. All right, this is not the moon.
Slideshow regardless of where you are, as long as you're within your box.
Okay, fine, cool. Mercury. Mercury is not. It's not the moon, and it does look like that. Now, all right, Zach, you're the smart one. What's the hottest planet in our solar system? No. We'll show that in a second. The next slide. Next one. Venus. Venus happens to be the hottest planet in our solar system. Do you know why? It has an atmosphere of greenhouse gases, therefore reflecting the heat back to the planet over 750 degrees, I think. I should have hesitated, huh? Obviously, the next planet next to it is the moon, our closest neighbor. Next slide. Notice I go to Mars. How come I don't have a picture of the Earth? I can see it through a telescope. Look down. We're standing on it. I can't take a picture of it. I can take a picture of an ant. Very good, though. Very good. All right, so Mars. Some of the pictures, these don't happen to be pictures that were taken by our members, but in our telescopes, you can, in some of them, make out the polar caps at the southern portion of Mars and and the northern portion of Wonderful. No, that's good. Go next slide. There you go. Next one. There we go. Jupiter. Largest gas giant in our solar system. You can, in some of our telescopes, actually, on a clear night, see the red spot of Jupiter on the planet. Mind you, we can't go way up to it, but next one.
Oh, Ken, our online audience is asking if you could stay back behind that white line on the ground because they can't see you half the time.
Thank you for. So I have to stay behind this white line.
Yeah.
Okay, because they can't see me.
Yeah, you keep going off the camera. The camera
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for mentioning that, please. Then we have Uranus, which has got rings. We can't see the rings with our telescopes on Earth, but they can see it in outer space when they're offside or on the side of the planet. Neptune. Okay. No, that's good. All right. Next thing. We are, and the sun and everything else, not the biggest stuff in space as far as bodies. Let's look at those. Let me do this. Nope. I'm just going to minimize. That's good. Take a look at this thing. This is great. Hopefully the sound is on and we'll be able to play here. Nope. No. It was working. Oh. Can we, yeah, just switch it over to that. 1 second. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Just show my computer screen. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. My fault, not theirs. I apologize. Thank you. That you need to keep. I'll move out of the way. Just to give you an idea of the planets. Why is it in German? Earth is a little dot way back here. The light's bigger than the dot. Watch this. That's Earth compared to that star. That's here. Hit it anywhere. Just upper, there we go. This will just give you an idea of how insignificant we are within our there we go, in our solar system / universe. Earth is a third dot next to that first big dot. This is approximately where Voyager is, 17 light years away. Oort cloud and closest stars. Anybody bored with this yet? Oop. This is a video straight off of YouTube, I believe. We're somewhere in here. Voila. Yeah, close it out. Now we're there. Let's go to the next. Okay. Yeah, but however you want to do it. Alrighty. Some of you might be interested in DSOs, deep space objects, myself included. Things that are many light years away, or galaxies and comets. We do, if one of our members has set it up, we do have pictures of some of the comets that have been local to us, and we've taken some pictures of them. Now, just to give you an idea, everybody knows how fast light goes, right? Any ideas? How fast does light travel? 100, 3 times something. It's about 186,000 miles in 1 second. So if I was to take a magic switch and turn on the sun, it would not be light here for another 8.5 minutes. I use this as my demonstration. Is that a raincoat? Yeah. Too bad. I'm going to squirt you anyway. I use this as my demonstration, so for some people, it's really water in there. Look, Zach. This is the sun. This is the light coming off is the water coming out. End results is everybody has to be quiet and listen. This will give you an idea of light speed. Obviously, it's not going at light speed, but it takes time for the water to hit the ground.
Hey, Ken, can you move back again? Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I get the people online? Oh, I was doing this. I'm empty. So, time. The water took time to come from the sun or the squirt gun and hit the ground. Same thing, the 8.5 minutes for it to be light here after I've turned on the sun. Let me turn that off before it gets light here. There we go. Next. That's a nice thing, isn't it? M51. This is the Whirlpool Galaxy. That's a galaxy swallowing another galaxy. Cool stuff. Yes, you can take a picture of it, but you can't see it with your naked eye. Globular Cluster. This is a globular cluster, but since it's stars and there's no fine elements / dust, gases that are very diffused within time and through space, stars you can see. This is M13. This is the Great Hercules Cluster. Next. Nice galaxy, isn't it? That's Andromeda. Here at UACNJ, on a very clear night, which we do get them every once in a while, you would be able, if I pointed it out to you, be able to see it with your naked eye. Okay, with binoculars, definitely you would see a smudge. All you would see in the binoculars, or even with your naked eye, is just the center of this. Even though it goes out to here, to here. It's a lot you're missing. With photography, we're able to get it. Now, as I was mentioning, definitely with binoculars, that galaxy is 2.694 million light years away. So, with time, the light that was taken by this camera, that light that was given off by those stars in that object, are 2.694 million years old when we were able to see it. The one thing I will mention now, next slide. Oh, no. Go to the next slide. Next one. That's backwards. That's backwards. Voila! Favorite object of mine. This happens to be one of my pictures. This is called the Horsehead Nebula. Cannot see it with your naked eye. You can just about make out the horse's head being a dark object within this area. But that way, it's very difficult to get a real view of it. But 1,500 light years away. So that picture I took in 2013? Yeah, 2013. The light that I captured with my camera had been traveling through space for 1,500 years. So you're actually going back in time when you're looking at something. Go ahead. Next. Did my mouse die? There it is. This is the Crab Nebula. I'm going to get into the astronomy for beginners. I'm trying to create interest right now. So, the Crab Nebula was actually seen by naked eye, supposedly in 100 AD, documented by the Chinese, and you could see it in the daytime, supposedly. I would have loved to have been there. Obviously, I wasn't even born many long time ago. Anybody guess? Okay, no problem. I'm not lying. You know, there's no hesitation on my part. This is the Orion Nebula. Actually, with a pair of binoculars and our telescopes, you definitely would be able to see, again, the core. The core being this area within here with the telescope with no problem on a clear night. Next. This is... Oh, help. It's another nebula. I want to say online. Anybody have any ideas on what nebula this is? I've forgotten. But in either case, what? You're going to turn on your mic. Go ahead. You can talk to him.
I was about to say, you didn't leave me any notes to help you out with this either.
No notes yet? Okay, fine. There are two types of nebulas. Go back. Two types of nebulas. This happens to be a nebula. Why I'm saying nebula is because this is where stars are born. Matter, ever so small, ever so large, gather together. And once they get big enough, about 10 times the size of our sun, the gravity takes over and fusion starts. This is a nebula where stars are being born, all in this area here. Notice please the glow that's around this area right here. There's stars being born behind it. The Horsehead Nebula is a nebula. There's stars actually being born. The other nebula, if I have a picture of it, I'll bring it up, is called a planetary nebula. Nope, that's a regular nebula. And that, okay, stop. This is a planetary, the Crab Nebula is a planetary nebula. What they had named it, planetary, they thought it was a planet exploding, not a planet exploding. It's actually a star exploding. This was a star that had exploded in 100 AD. And there's many of this out there. Ring Nebula is a planetary nebula. Go ahead, next one. There we go. Stop. Maybe you'll see when you look up in the sky, something moving. And that's what I try to tell people. Here, most definitely, we see satellites coming across. We see the International Space Station. That's normal for us. But any idea what maybe that little object is right there in that square? I will tell you, it is not a satellite. It is not the International Space Station, and it was moving. I should have put a progression picture beyond that. Any guesses? Go ahead. You got a big smile. Never mind. Go back. That's fine. No, that's Starman. Elon Musk, I think, was in 2012 or 13. Yeah, I think it was 12 or 13. He actually put a Tesla up, and he actually put a figure in it with a camera on it. And the camera did send a picture back. That's Starman in a car traveling through space. No lie. Look it up on the internet. No hesitation on my part. Next. The only problem I have is, why has he got the roof down when there's no wind in space? I don't know. Maybe you'll see him one day. Or maybe you'll see somebody like this. Actually meet them. Anybody know what that is? Go ahead, Zach. Guardians of the Galaxy. That's right. Next slide. Thank you. Or maybe you might be the next person, Zach. I apologize, Zach, for picking on you, but you look like a great kid. Is that okay? That's cool. Okay. So, again, innovation. And, convertible, doesn't really work right with space, but whatever. But being involved with even careers. I have another talk that I talk about careers. Even the people that sent up the original Apollo lander, they consulted amateur astronomers, not necessarily like me. They're much smarter ones than me. And they actually use that information. So you might be the next Elon Musk. You might be the next Carl Sagan. Who knows? The younger people I'm talking to. Even you're younger. I'll stay there. Next. Now we're going to start getting into some of the stuff about learning about space. The show has been discontinued, I do believe, but Exploration Outer Space was a great show. They talked about mostly careers and some of the stuff. It's really good. It was put out by, of course, Fox News or Fox TV, and is available, I believe, on YouTube or wherever you get your streaming stuff from. Next. Anybody got apps? Hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Got 6 people that got the app on their phone. But really, really good, especially if you're using binoculars, to looking at, one, the planets, moon, most definitely, but I don't need an app for that. Or even the Orion Nebula and the other galaxies that you might be able to see. So it's really good. I happen to use Sky Map, and it really helps even me out. And believe I need a lot of help. You should ask my wife. Next. Sky Chart is another really, really good one. I also have that on my phone. Both of these apps and the many others that are on there are good starting points for somebody who doesn't know a lot about space or wants to get involved with astronomy. Next. The other thing is, there's 2, I believe. I don't remember the name of the other. Stellarium is a free planetary software that you can actually go up, and I've used it, go up, and you might be going into New Mexico on a certain day. If you go into New Mexico on a certain day, what's going to be over my head? Well, basically the same stuff here. But if you happen to travel outside the country, I've been to Aruba. I actually knew what was going to be over my head, and I found a club out there that I got associated with. But it's really very simple. Once you get into it, very simple to use. And you'll be able to find all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't tell you just right here. I can look over here. I can look over here. I can advance it days. I can digress it years. I know what was over my head the day I was born. It was raining. Never mind.
Yep, the other program is called Celestia, and in addition to actually being able to do similar functions to Stellarium, you can also zoom out as if you are traveling through space. So if you wanted to take a closer look at, let's say, one of Jupiter's moons, you would be able to do that.
And that's cool. That's really cool. I like something a little bigger because I can't see the moons as close up as Celestia does.
It might just be a computer.
Oh, no, it's very interesting. It's very cool. Next. This happens to be a screenshot from Stellarium. Okay, it happens to be, again, and it's not tonight's sky, but it was, if you look down on the bottom, people online, it's 2014, April of 2014, and that was what was overhead in that direction, which it's facing, we'll call it southwest, what was over our head at that time. Notice the lines on here. This is something else I bring in. Cancer. Everybody knows what Cancer looks like. I think that's it. Cancer's the crab, right? Yes. Does that look like a crab? It's two stars, two stars. Those are the lines just making up the constellation. There was a bunch of Greeks at a fire sipping on a little bit too much rum. And it looks like a crab to me. You know, believe me. Stellarium allows you to import and actually put the line art, which is what you see here, and also art of an object like the crab on screen. Next. Equipment. Now we're going to get into it. Equipment can be, of course, as I mentioned, binoculars, or a simple tabletop telescope, something a little bit more advanced that you can get at Walmart or any place, or you can get something bigger, which is the one on the extreme right. End results is that depends on how big your wallet is. Mine's gotten a little thinner lately. I've been losing on the lottery, so not too good. I haven't hit. So, next screen. Binoculars being a good choice, again, once you start your journey into the hobby. They're portable. You can take them, obviously, anywhere, and you just have to look up. One of my first experiences as far as with astronomy prior to me getting involved with the hobby was actually laying down on a picnic table in a campsite where everybody else left. I stayed an extra day, and I was just looking up. Here, June, July, August, September, even into October, on a good clear night, so make sure you come back on a clear night, you'd see the Milky Way right here. No problems. No problems. No lie. So with a pair of binoculars and a Planosphere, which is a piece of equipment that you can purchase inside for... Oh, my mic just quit? No. This is a Planosphere. I'm going to hand it out to you guys. Take a look at it. Is that okay?
Yep, as long as it comes back.
As long as it comes back, whoever takes it, you bought it. This will allow you online. Okay, online first. Hopefully you can see that, guys. It has a disc on it. It allows you to set up the day, the month, and the time, and what's overhead. You'll notice that there's a big rivet in the center with a hole in it. You're supposed to put that on or about the direction of north at Polaris, and it would show you the sky overhead. Anybody? I missed. Okay, fine. I bought it. I threw it at somebody in the audience. So a Planosphere is really a good place to start, or your phone. Next. As I was mentioning, binoculars are a good choice. These are a little too small. Don't buy them. Zachary's going, no. Or you can buy a pair of binoculars like you see on screen. These are a little bit too big and not that portable. This is my own personal scope binoculars. I don't use it that much. It's actually got dirt on it. But this would be a little bit overkill even. It weighs about 7, 8 pounds, 9 pounds. But it's a good place to start, especially if you want to get involved. You're passing that Planosphere around, right? Good. Next. These would be a nice size. Very handheld, very nice. Basically, you can buy these at Walmart for 30, 40 bucks. probably because of the pandemic and supply. It's probably about $100 now. But either way, nice size. But I bought my first pair, as mentioned down below, for about $10 on a garage sale. Make sure that the lenses are clean and not scratched up. Next. Andromeda. As I was saying, Andromeda is visible by naked eye or by a pair of binoculars. Andromeda is here. This is actually too much because I can see from here to here Andromeda. You actually wouldn't see it that much. This, of course, was taken with a camera at a short duration exposure. Definitely more than 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Next. As mentioned, from end to end, it's 220,000 light years across. It basically is about the size of 3 full moons. But you can't see all the way to the edge. It's about 2.5 times the size of our solar galaxy. It will also, sorry to tell you this, got tissues, get them out. It will collide with us in about 5 billion years. So, I mean, if you can get upset about that, I'm sorry. Can't do anything about it. Now let's talk about some of the telescopes that you might be interested in. The Newtonian. Notice the light comes into one end, bounces off a mirror, comes back out to a secondary mirror and out the eyepiece. Yeah, it's on the side. But it's a good telescope for planetary, moon definitely, planetary, and also some of the larger deep space objects. You can even do some photography with it if you got into it. Whole nother subject. My telescope happens to be like this here. This is also a reflecting telescope. Why is it called a reflecting telescope? Not you again, Zach. Go ahead. Because there's a mirror. That's right. Voila. There you go. So, in my telescope, of course, it comes down to a concave mirror, sends it up to a secondary mirror, out the tube, hits another mirror, comes out. The other mirror that's hitting at the end is called a diagonal, and then it's actually a part that you would put on the back of a telescope. Then you have a refractor, which is similar to what a pirate would use, but you don't stretch it out. It has a little crank on it and makes it longer for the focal length. And you'll be able to see really good with that too. Next. So that's basic telescopes. Now let's get into mounts. A mount basically makes it sturdy. Now that could be a camera mount or a very complex, maybe computerized mount. The end results are is the larger the mount and more sturdy it is, the better it's going to be. Wind will blow it, so on and so forth. It really does make a difference. It just basically keeps it steady for precise pointing at something. In our night sky, you can find mounts like this, and with any telescope, any $150, $200 telescope. Mind you, I'm talking not big numbers. Okay, then you can get into a computerized mount like we have here, which has a controller and a much sturdier mount. It's a little bit, this is similar to what I have, which is this particular mount. It's very sturdy, and I actually do my astrophotography with this type of a mount. You can put your camera on the back of it. What kind of a camera? A DSLR or a CCD astronomical camera, which is what I use. So by having something like this, guess what? Once you learn how to set it up and know how to learn how to use it, all I have to do is punch in the number of the object I want to see. It just moves right over to it. Again, it's properly set up initially. Go ahead.
And when you take care of your mount, it doesn't sound like a duck dying.
No. Terrible. Mine sounds like garbage. Okay, and it also, again, is tracking. So it takes into consideration the rotation of the Earth as we're going. The stars don't move, we're moving. So as it's moving like this, ever so slightly, it'll keep that object in frame, and boink, you'll be able to look at it all night long. Next. This is a little bit of overkill. I'm at a campground here. Look at the telescope this guy brought. It's collapsible. It does come apart. He has to spend about an hour setting it up, putting the bars in here, putting the curtain around the outside, and then putting the other thing on top. Okay? This is a Dobsonian telescope. But I got my best views ever through a telescope. And in fact, it was that telescope. That isn't, no, that's not my camper there. I thought it was my camper at first. Next. So, as I was mentioning to some people before, here at UACNJ, we will have the largest optical, non-privately owned telescope east of the Mississippi. Did Alan take his down and move it?
I don't know.
You don't know. I have to ask somebody. We have a member that did and could not be outdone by our large telescope, and he went out and bought a 51-inch telescope. How much that cost, Alan? I have no idea. Too much. That's it.
That's not Alan's. That's the one we will have set up.
That's
eventually.
The telescope that we have currently. Parts of it in our storage area, and altogether, the base and the telescope weighs 16,000 pounds. The mirror in the back end of the telescope, which is one small component, weighs 1,500 pounds itself. That's a push to. No, it isn't. No, that has a motor on it. The only problem is it's a decommissioned ICBM tracking telescope, U.S. Air Force. It's designed currently to go from horizon to horizon in 3 seconds. Too fast for us. It's not made to actually track the Earth. So we have to do a little bit more work to that. Next. Astronomy is a hobby for everybody. How old are you, Zach? 11. So you're somewhere in between the 8 to 80, aren't you? I'll tell you a story in a second. 80. It is the coolest hobby I ever got involved with. My granddaughter, who I was persistent with telling her and showing her with my telescope at home, this, that, the other thing, Orion, the Orion Nebula, and all that. Showed her where it was. I took my laser pointer out, just like I'm doing now, and I said, there it is. It won't cut your feet off. Don't worry about it, Zach. But go ahead. Coolest hobby going. Like I said, this is me sitting in the snow right over there taking pictures. It's really cool. It's really nice. So some of the best viewing is in the wintertime because of the temperature. Okay, yes, we have to deal with the cold, but the temperature difference, there's less. Anybody a scuba diver? Thermoplane. There you go. Voila. Thermoplanes that happen within our atmosphere, which makes everything distorted. Look at this guy. He happens to be one of our really talented astronomers. I won't even call him an amateur. The telescope that he has right here, I'm sorry guys if I'm in the way, telescope that he's standing by is a push-to. A push-to meaning I push it. Yeah, that's it. Did you want to see the Crab Nebula? He knew where it was and pushed the telescope to it. Really no setup to it other than it being flat. But great guy. His name is Greg Takish. Next. Okay, there we go. Close enough. Of course, there is great viewing in the summertime here, as long as it's clear, not like this. If you notice, please, over here on this lower picture, all the people look like they're staring into the sky. They are. There was a talk going on, and we normally had our talks inside because of COVID. We're outside. But when I came to the door, I said, "Guys, anybody want to see the International Space Station fly over?" I had 60 people trying to get through that doorway. It was a lot of fun watching, but they were outside and they're actually looking at the International Space Station. That's another Push 2 telescope. This is just a group of us. It was just a nice picture. But people bring their personal telescopes, and some of our members do, and they set up right in the field. So if you have a telescope at home, next time you come, please bring it. Set it up in our field. You're more than welcome to, on a Saturday, you're more than welcome to stay. Look at the sky with your own personal scope. If you need help, and we do have the time, depending on the size of our crowd and the clarity of the sky, we might be able to help you set up and get you started and looking at some stuff. Next. Oh, thank you for your help, Kim. Kim is helping me do this. That's why and then you see her head pop in every once in a while. I didn't do it. Just go there. Probably the battery's dead. Nope. Touch it there. There we go. So, again, here you are at UACNJ. This is our lecture hall area that we normally would have. We have a museum that's set up kinda in the corner of our sales area here. This is one of our telescopes. It's in the back. One of our lead members. This is Gil Jeffer, one of our lead members. This is an aerial view done by, I think somebody flew over with a plane. I didn't take it with my drone. Next. Thank you very much for all your help. There's a lot of things in outer space, even over our heads here in New Jersey. Thank you again, allowing me to talk to you. I will take questions loudly, or Kim will tell me what your question is. I can't hear well. End results are, thank you very much. Again, I would say normally at this time, go out, view the sky, do it at home, because it ain't happening tonight.
All right. So thank you, Ken, for talk. If you want to actually not be so far forward, so again, people can continue to see you.
Okay.
So I know normally we would have questions during the talk, but to make things a little simpler on me, because I've been paying attention to online chat as well as the talk, we do a question and answer session at the end. Before we get into that, because I think a couple of you had wandered in during the talk, going over a couple things that you could probably see on the screen behind me. If you need to use the restroom, it is the porta potty with the red light right over there. We will have our president will be opening up a couple of the telescopes so that you can, even though we won't be able to view anything, anyone here on site who's interested, I know we have some scouts here, you will be able to at least see what our setup for some of these telescopes are. I think he said the Greenwood, possibly?
Excuse me?
Paul?
Paul?
I think Paul might open up the Greenwood to at least show you what a couple of our telescopes will look
Mine's
like.
open.
And Ken will apparently open his too, so that you can at least see one of the setups. Like I said, when you do go to leave, please use your headlights. We don't like getting run over, and as much as we enjoy our night vision, we enjoyed not getting flattened much more. In addition, like Ken said, do check out our little museum area and the little gift shop. Any proceeds that have been donated um, do go to keeping our lights on and our programs free. And also, if you can't donate money, do check us out on our Facebook. Hit those like and subscribe buttons, and check us out on our website, uacnj.org. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by the squirrel over in the and yes, it is an actual squirrel. I actually went to go look. It's trying to get into the shed. But that being said, we're going to go get off into the question and answer session. For those of you who are here, please wait till I bring the microphone to you so that our online audience can hear your question. That way, because chances are, if you have the question, they also have the question and would like to know. So we are starting out with our first question, which they said was not necessarily for Ken, but they were wondering how Lonnie is doing, and they hope he's better. I have not heard from him directly in a bit, but we are so far looking forward to having him back for his next scheduled talk. And I have not heard anything bad, so I'm throughout most of this trying time with the pandemic, assume no news is sometimes the best news. Right. So our next question, does anyone have a question out in our live audience? Like I said, I'll bring you the microphone. Bueller?
Bueller.
All right. So
I've answered everything? No, there's no way.
no, I do have actually several questions on our talk.
Online audience.
Yep. So they asked, the next question was, why was Pluto declassified as a planet, and why is it still a planet to you?
Still a planet to me because I learned it as a planet. There's 9 of them. I will never let it go, just like my pet dog. It was declassified because they found that in the Oort cloud and the belt that's beyond Pluto, there's objects actually larger. So therefore, they classified it as a dwarf planet.
So still a planet, just a different type of planet.
But it's not not only that, there's another thing about Pluto. Pluto has a moon, Calypso.
I thought it was Charon.
Huh?
Pluto's moon is Charon, I thought.
Charon, then.
You have
Barbara.
No, you have Pluto, which is the god of the underworld, and then you have Charon, who is the ferryman to get over the river Styx.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So in either case,
I'm a nerd.
Our moon goes around us like this. Pluto and its moon go around like this. So they really are like, one's not orbiting the other. They're orbiting each other, like this, if you will. Next.
Anyone have another question? Oh, yes,
question.
We got
There
one
go.
question. Like I said, let me.
I'm going to go stand by
walk
the
out to
speaker
you.
so I can hear it. Oh, my God.
Oh, you put your hand down. Where'd you go? There you are. Sorry, in the dark, it's sometimes hard to find people.
Let's do this.
Pluto and its moon orbit each other like Sirius A and Sirius B. Why is their orbit like that?
I didn't hear the question.
He asks, so Pluto and its moon orbit each other like Sirius A and B. Why do they have such a different orbit around each other versus like what the Earth has with its moon, where the moon is definitely going around us instead of both dancing around each other?
They're both basically about the same mass. They're not identical in mass, but they're very close in mass, and therefore they had the same gravitational pull, and they're close to each other. So don't get me wrong. Eventually, that's going to degrade. Bang, and they're going to go together. But that won't happen for a couple of tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of years. So by going, they're attracting to each other. Okay, we being the moon being a quarter the size of Earth. Guess what? Earth wins.
Hey, Jeff.
Earth wobbles a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Earth wobbles a little bit, but not a lot. So, next, if any.
Sorry, I noticed he was a little quiet on the speaker, which means generally he's a bit quiet on the live stream. So I just was
You
asking.
have one more question in the front by the Boy Scouts.
In the pictures of the nebulas, there was like stars there. Are
Yeah.
they like are they like big? Like how big are exactly are nebulas?
How big are the nebulas? Huge. Huge. In some cases, they're actually almost about the size of the orbit of Mercury going around the sun. So it's almost that diameter. Okay? So they get quite large. Again, they're attracting, because of mass, they're attracting particles and gases coming in. So they can get, don't get me wrong, again, a nebula, okay, which is gathering gas and matter, okay, is gathering from way out. One thing when you look up in the sky at night, what are you looking into?
The atmosphere?
Space. We're looking into space. There's a lot of stuff. Some of the stars, other stars and everything, are much further away. Even though you saw them in the picture, there might be behind it, possibly in front, most likely behind it. So end results are is they're too far away to actually come in conjunction or collide with the nebula.
All right. So we have another question online. Was on the picture Jupiter had a blue top? What was that?
That blue top, okay, just going back on camera again. That blue top, does anybody have an idea what that might be, that blue? Please. It's a,
He said it was a hexagon, and he is actually correct.
he basically is correct, but that wasn't the blue that he saw. It's actually an aurora. It's an aurora. All of the planets do get the aurora except for Uranus, where the light particles are coming off the sun, collecting in on the poles, just like our Earth, and basically creating the light. And that's the light that they're seeing.
All right. Was there another question from our audience here?
If I'm wrong,
Okay. Thank you. Keep your hand up so I can
thank you
sneak
for
past
turning
the
that back in.
speaker
I would be
without
in so much
alarming
trouble
it.
handing it out. I'd wind up
When is
paying for the
Jupiter
Planosphere.
best viewable this year?
She asked, when is Jupiter best viewable this year?
Hesitation. Probably, I'd have to defer to one of my, I wouldn't even answer it. Probably June-ish, July. And Saturn will be in that same general area, or much later on tonight.
Yeah,
Jupiter and Saturn become visible.
because everything moves around us, or rather we're rotating through everything, it is viewable in the sky at different times of the year. I know right now at this time of the year it is viewable closer to the morning. As we get later into the year, more towards past the halfway point in our season, we start being able to see it again at night after our talks. And then through the winter it's kind of is up and then starts to go towards the early mornings again.
So Jupiter is here, Saturn. So we're like this coming up to it. So as we get more into our year, they become viewable. They're not moving fast. Remember, it takes them 30 years to go around the sun once. Once we catch up to it, it'll be viewable. And again, I'd say like June, July. Stellarium. Use Stellarium or your app on your phone.
Those actually very good sources. And speaking of Stellarium, there's actually a question about that. And they asked phones.
Whoa.
What?
I
Does
don't know.
Stellarium work on phones? I believe Stellarium's actually a web-based or download-based app. So on your computer, it will work. I did not see a phone app. I did check, but you can always double check me if. Oh, oh, sweet! They made an app for it now. There is, in fact, an app for that.
Wow.
Yeah, that mouse is dead. It's dead, Jim.
Oh. If anybody you can find this online too, online people. This, of course, is the map that I originally, slide that I actually took of the planets and how long it takes the various planets to orbit the sun. I have some copies up here. Anybody want them? First 20 people. First 20 people. For
Right.
you, $20. No, the first 20 people are more than welcome to them.
Was there another question from our audience out here? Oh, I see one over there. Sorry, let me just make my way in the dark.
Who else wants one?
Oh.
Oh my God, they're all coming.
Attack. All right, who had their hand up? Okay.
For I think it was the Apollo 11 mission where they put the
Oh my God.
American flag
Where are
on
they
the
coming
moon
from?
and
I don't care.
the like
I'm gonna go like
I
this.
think reflectors. Can you like see the like the American flag and like
another
the
10
reflectors
left.
that they placed on the moon with a telescope?
You can have one of your very
Hey,
own.
Ken.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know.
Why not?
Ken.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Ken.
Anybody?
We're going to focus now.
What's that?
All right. So he asked, so when we went up onto the mission on moon and we had people walking on the moon, we planted an American flag. There's definitely a flag up there, I believe.
Yes.
There are also reflectors at various points on the moon. Can
Yes.
you see the flag and or the reflectors on the moon?
Not with our equipment here in UACNJ, but with a larger telescope, say at one of the big observatories, you might be able to see a small square of the remaining lander. As far as the flag, it's kind of tough because we're looking down on a flag that's this thin. Okay, so a little tough. The reflectors, yeah, they do. They are visible again with one of the larger telescopes. Not here.
Right. Our next question online was actually related to an earlier one as well. Why doesn't Uranus get auroras?
Because of the poles being at the front and the back, it's boom. It's gonna blow right by it. As far as the one in the rear, again, it's facing away from us. We can't see it.
Cool. I believe you also had a question. Okay. All right. Was there another question? Oh, perfect. And I just want to ask the online audience, if you have any more questions, please do get them in. We will probably be wrapping this up
I just want to
shortly.
get rid of the paper.
Oh,
Is it possible Mars once had life form?
Ken, is it possible that Mars once had life on it?
As far as I'm concerned, and life life is the microbes that are even you're standing on right now. So, and they have viewed via microscopes with stuff where actually there have been microbes visible. Okay, bacterial is a form of life. As far as roads and everything else, it's a stab in the dark. I believe there was a form of life or possibly is still a form of life on Mars. In what fashion? Bacterial? Microscopic? I don't know that.
We got another question over here.
Aren't there like didn't they find like ice on Mars and like imprints of rivers on Mars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. You got to remember, on Mars during the daytime, it gets warm. It gets like real warm. And they have shown photographs of all of a sudden seeing, we'll call them gouges or maybe runoff that wasn't there in the previous picture. So it melts the surface ice that's underneath it and runs out. And yes, there is ice on Mars. They found out when they lost one of the wheels, working wheels, on one of the rovers, and it dragged like this in the soil, and it exposed white. And the assumption is that that is water, and I'll go with that.
All right. Were there any more questions?
With that,
All right. So, with that, again want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and everyone for joining us online. Do check us out on our website. We do have a full season of talks available every Saturday at 8 p.m. That we are looking forward to continue giving you. And with that, everyone have a good night. And like I said, you guys that are here, I believe Paul should be around shortly if you want to see any of the observatories with the telescopes.
again, thank you all for coming. Please do us a great big favor, because I want to see people coming up to my telescope personally, looking into it, as I've had many, 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 many times, and having somebody go, wow. And believe me, the planets, wow, because we can relate to it. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for not telling me to shut up, as most people do around here.